Hey, what's up, YouTube fam? It's your boy Kamo back with another reaction video for you. Well, you asked for it, so here it is. I'm going to do reaction to my own stand-up video from stand-up I did 12 years ago. I'll give you the backstory on how it happened, where the jokes came from, and all that stuff. So with that out of the way, let's get into it. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start off right away with how this night ended up happening. I'll try to give you the condensed version. So I had a friend who was training me in martial arts at the time. Trained once a week in the park, and after a couple years, we kind of became friends. And so after training, we would go hang out at his house. And it got to a point where sometimes I'd even bring stuff for us to watch afterwards. And I had a lot of stand-up comedy DVDs, and so we would just watch them and laugh and stuff like that. And one day, it was kind of around the holidays. It was around this time of year, like November, I think. And he said, "Hey, I was meditating the other day, and I think you should do stand up." And like I laughed it off and was like, "Yeah, okay, whatever." And he stayed serious, and I was just like seriously? And he was like, "Yeah, you need to do stand up." And I was like, "But normally people that do stand up aren't you supposed to be funny?" And he goes, "You're gonna do stand up." And I was like, "No, no, no, I heard you, but like, did you hear me? Like, not really funny, like, which is true. I don't feel like I'm funny in life, and like amongst my group of friends at the time, and even still now, I don't feel like I'm the funny one of the group. I'm not the one that's cracking jokes all the time. I'm usually, well, if it's I'm just amongst my friends, I can obviously be more outgoing, but in general, I'm kind of more reserved and keep to myself. But yeah, he basically was just like, "No, you're gonna do stand up." I said, "Yeah, but I don't know how to start." He's all, "Well, you're gonna figure it out." And I was like, "Okay." And he's all, "So you're gonna do it?" And I was like, "Okay." So I realized at that point it was basically he was not letting this go, and it was my two choices were try stand up comedy or face the consequences, which are him probably hurting me because he was my teacher, so he knew his stuff. Um, so I went with the first one, and I just searched for where I could do stand up, and I didn't know anything. Like now, if anyone asked me like how do I start, I wouldn't probably tell them this way, but just for back in that time, I didn't know anything. So I went and looked up comedy classes, stand up comedy classes, and there was one that taught at the Ice House in Pasadena, and it's a legendary club. And at the culmination of, I believe, it was an 8 week class. At the end of it, you got to perform in front of a live audience on the stage. So that's what I ended up doing, and that's how this night happened. So this was after 8 weeks of um, the classes, and this was the final night. And and we didn't know before we got to the show. We did not know ahead of time where we were going to be in the lineup. And traditionally speaking, if you're last, that's the best spot. But really, it's like it's to me, it's I feel like it's the most pressure to me, honestly. And I had talked to a guy who was actually kind of becoming a name in Orange County at the time for stand up. He had been doing it like 2 or 3 years at the time, but he was already getting booked on big shows, and he was at the Aspen Comedy Festival, so he was doing really well. And I'd found out he had taken this person's class. So I asked him about it, and he kind of gave me some good advice. But he had said, he's all, "I remember the night that I had to do my showcase, and he was last. He found out he was last, and he begged the teacher not to make him go last because he knew that like he didn't want it, and he felt like he didn't deserve it." And he said, she was like, "No, it's an honor, and you deserve to go last because blah blah blah." And so I just remember him telling me that, and then I get to the show that night, and I see the lineup, and I'm last. And my buddy, the one who told me I need to do stand up, I had told him the story I just told you about this other comic and everything. And so he said, "So where are you, or did you see the lineup?" I said, "Yeah." He's like, "Where are you at?" I said, "I'm last." And he goes, "I knew you'd be last." And I was like, "Okay." So that goes that for that premonition. So with that out of the way, that's enough backstory for you, I think. I think we can get this started. The one thing I will say that I know the first thing you hear is my introduction. The introduction was my idea. So generally when you get introduced on stage, especially if you're uh, like nobody knows you, the person that's introducing you will usually ask you like, "Is there anything you want me to say, or how would you like me to introduce you?" And so I just told her what she's about to say, And I've used similar stuff like that in the past. Like there's been shows where I've said, "Oh, just say like he can be seen at the local, McDonald's drive-through on a Saturday night, or something like that." And it usually gets a couple laughs, but it's just because I really don't care about credits. Like I don't feel like it matters if you say like he's performed at the Ice House, at the Comedy Store, at the Improv. Like I don't really feel like it matters because it's just about are you good that night, So with that out of the way, here we go. It's hard to watch. I'll try. I'll try. Brandon Barrett.
Next to last comic, he comes to us all the way from Orange County. That's right, behind the orange curtain, people. And I'd like to thank his dad for not pulling out 29 years ago.
That's my idea.
So we get to enjoy his comedy tonight. Let's hear for Kevin Mosansky.
Very proud of her for saying my name right because most people say my name wrong, which is why I go by Kamo most of the time. And why they brought me up to too close, I do not know. I will never know, but I have no idea why.
What's up, Ice House? Another hand for Sally Mullins, please.
So one thing that's going to bother me, I'm going to get it from right out of the way, is, and by the way, if you've never done stand-up comedy, let me explain something to you. The spot, if you're doing it at an actual comedy club, if you do it at a bar or something, it's different. But if you're doing it at a comedy club, the spotlight is right in your eyes, so you can't see anybody except like the first or second row. That's it. Everybody else, you just see shapes like shadows. But my personal pet peeve of watching this is, and it's notable. I'm nervous. It's my first time. I keep looking down. After every time I tell a joke, I look down because it's almost like I don't want to see the two rows that I can see. I don't want to see their reaction. I don't want to see if they're like looking at me like, what does this guy think? Or like, that wasn't funny. I just don't want to see it. So you'll notice after every time I tell a joke, I basically look down. Little inside baseball for you.
I don't have a lot of regrets, but there is one that I want to talk about with you guys tonight that I'm probably going to go to hell for. I really wish when I was younger that I would have had a lot more sex with high school girls.
If you've seen my video where I did a Anthony Jeselnik joke, like I tried to do a joke in his style, a lot of it was pulled from this original joke that I told 12 years ago. I obviously tell it the way he talks and more his cadence, and I changed a lot of the setup and everything, but the root of the joke is from this joke here.
Because I realize I can't do that now, You can't put that on your bucket list.
Looking down.
Trust me, I'll look into it.
Looking down.
But what really pisses me off, though, is the people that can have sex with high school girls are not taking advantage of it. Like the Make-A-Wish kids.
Down. Down.
They always want to meet a celebrity or want to see Disneyland before they die. Frankly, in my opinion, unless their last wish is to bang Miley Cyrus on Space Mountain, it's a waste of a wish.
Basically, just so you know, the reason I said Miley Cyrus is just literally at the time for the joke, I was like, who is a popular celebrity right now that is under 18? That's all I needed for the joke. Female, of course. And she was the top one on the list. So I said, okay, I think most people know who she is, so use her. I think if I had to tell a joke today, or when I did tell a joke, I think I said Millie Bobby Brown from Stranger Things, because that's the most relevant person I could think of underage that would fit the joke if I had to do it today, which I would not do it today.
I love women. I love those pants you girls wear that say juicy on the back. I really do. But I'm not going to lie to you, I am a little jealous because they don't make those for guys. You girls have one that say juicy. Why can't guys have ones that say, like, sweaty? Or if you haven't had sex in a really long time, you can say blue.
So this was the first joke I ever told in the class. The first week in the class, you don't tell any jokes. You just kind of she has you go up and kind of get comfortable taking the microphone in and out of the stand, because for a lot of people, that's a challenge, and like adjusting the stand to your height and all like the technicalities of that. Because if you look nervous on stage, which is true, it makes the audience nervous that you're going to be bad. So if you go up there and you're easily able to take the microphone out of the stand or adjust the mic stand to your height, and you do it all seamlessly with making it look like you've done it a million times, it puts the audience a little bit at ease. So the second week was bring some jokes. That's all she said, bring some jokes. I didn't have any jokes at the time. This was literally the first joke I wrote and the first joke I said in class. And I still remember to this day, I was really scared to tell it. And I was really shocked when the class laughed. I was 100%. I did not expect. I knew I thought it was funny, but I never thought in a million years that anyone else other than me, because in my brain, I was like, this is funny. I never thought anybody else would think it's funny. And usually when you do stand up, there's a rule of three. Usually you give three examples, and the third one is the funniest one. So when I first told this joke, I did have three examples. I think I always started with sweaty and ended with blue, and I think in the middle I would say salty. I forget the reason why, but I said or if it's blah 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 salty, and that got a groan. And so there's jokes that are called groaners, basically what's what they call them, which just means that people do laugh at them, but they also kind of go like it makes people laugh, but also the visual kind of gives them like a oh that's gross kind of feeling. So I ended up just taking it out and saying, let me just do this one too and get it out since the second one, I got that reaction every time I did it. So I was like, let me just lose this one and see if it just goes better with just these two. If I had to do this joke today, which it wouldn't make sense today, but if I had to do it today, I probably would do three of them, but I would just think of a different second one.
I know that's weird. I'm weird. I come from a weird family. I just found out a few days ago my dad actually makes his dog coffee in the morning.
100% true. 100% true. He doesn't anymore. That dog is now dead. I wonder why. But my dad used to give the dog coffee in the morning, every morning. And I did not know that until, like I say, like literally a few months before I did the set. And I was like, well, that's going in the act. I didn't know how to make it funny, and I'm still not really happy with how it goes, but I just had to tell it because I was like, I can't believe my dad does this.
No bullshit, he's done it for years, and not even regular black coffee either. No. He has sugar and hazelnut creamer, and if he doesn't top it with whipped cream and a caramel swirl, the dog just pushes away. What do I look like, a fucking cat? I'm like, Dad, do you hold the newspaper for him too when he takes his morning crap?
This is just nerves. This is a joke I could do today because it's true. Obviously, I would reword it, but like I'm rushing through parts of it because I'm not hearing enough laughs, so I'm scared and I'm rushing through. That's exactly what's happening right now.
My mom can be twisted too, though. I remember when my sister came home to announce to the whole family she was engaged. She was so happy and excited, and my mom couldn't snatch it from her fast enough. You have parents like that? She looked right at my sister. She's like, "Oh, really? So when's the baby due?" Yeah, my sister's jaw just dropped to the floor. In March.
So this joke is basically 100% fabricated with some truths. Like my sister really did come home and announce that she was engaged. My sister had already had a baby that was born in March, which is why I used the March thing. But my mom really didn't snatch. My mom had a tendency sometimes to, when you gave good news, she did sometimes have a tendency to rain on the parade a little bit. At the time, she doesn't really do that anymore, but at the time she did. And I just wanted to, because my goal was that I will make fun of myself, but since this is my first and probably only time doing stand-up, because I really thought this is going to be the only time I do stand-up, I'll do one joke about like each one of my family members, which would just be my mom, my dad, and my sister. And so I already made fun of my dad, and now here's a 2-for-1 with my mom and my sister. And then I get that out of the way, and I just do the rest of the jokes about me or whatever. So that's where that came from.
This is a little embarrassing to admit this, but I feel comfortable with you people, having known you a whole 2 minutes. I went to bed till I was 10 years old. Yeah, my parents didn't think it was funny either.
So this is 100% true, and there's a lot that goes into this, but yeah, I was a bedwetter till like 10, I think, and it sucks. It's a sucky feeling, especially when you do all the things that you think are like, I would stop drinking any liquids by like, like 7 p.m. and all this kind of stuff. And it's just a nightmare because, especially at that age, because like there was a time where it was like consistently every night, but around like from I think 7 or 8 to 10, it was sporadic. It would be like maybe once a week or something like that. And it was never, you never knew when, you never knew why, and it was just one of those situations where like sleepovers were like where there's a real fear there. And obviously at the time I've since learned that a lot of a lot of comedians actually had the same issues, so I don't know if that's where we got our humor from. But yeah, this was the whole part about being a bedwetter was 100% true, and I knew I was like, well, I have to talk about this because this is true and it's embarrassing, and so usually things that are true and embarrassing make for funny jokes. I just had to find a way to end it, which is how I end it.
And just to set the record straight, it wasn't because I couldn't hold it in or anything like that. I did it to keep the monsters under my bed from messing with me. I realize now how silly it sounds, thinking pee's gonna keep them away. So now I sleep with a gun on my pillow. Hey, you laugh, but it's been working. I recently reached a new level of drunkenness. Level 3 for those that are counting. Most guys know level 1. That's when you'll hit on any attractive girl without hesitation or fear of rejection.
So if I was going to do this joke again today, which I'm so mad that I didn't, is you label each level. It just helps to make the jokes stand out in a person's eye, because then if a person can reflect back to you what you said in a simplified way, it makes it easier to be like, oh, dude, like, so I would have been like beer goggle level. That's level 1. I'm sorry, that's level 2. Liquid courage is level 1. Liquid courage is level 1. Beer goggles level 2. And then I would have probably had to think of a name for level 3. But I'm so mad at myself that I didn't say liquid courage.
Level 2, also known as beer goggle level. That's when the person you're talking to just looks better and better the more you drink. I'm sure some women in the audience can relate to that one.
I don't think anybody got what I meant right there. Someone in the comments section of my actual original video did get what I was trying to say, but I don't think anyone got what I was trying to say here. I was saying like, and it came off wrong. I totally would have reworded it better or just not said it at all. But I was trying to say, I'm sure there's women in here that can relate to this, meaning you're with guys who you might have been drinking when you met them because you're way hotter than them. Like that's kind of what I was trying to say. But I don't think it came out that way. I think some women thought I was saying that like the guys were with them because they were drunk. Totally different scenario. And by the way, this story, as sad as it is 100% true. I remember the bar I was at. I remember the buddy that I was with that stopped me. I remember I was mad at him at the time. When I sobered up, I was thanking him.
Level 3 is when you're talking to somebody who's ugly as fuck. And you just keep drinking and drinking, and they're still ugly, but now you want to fuck them.
It's true. She was not attractive at all.
I was actually so wasted, I kid you not. I got mad at my friend for not letting me bang this thing at the bar.
So that's one of those things you just play with, by the way, the thing at the bar. I had tried the creature from the Black Lagoon, this there was like 3 to 5 different words I used to describe this thing, and then I just went with this thing because every one of them got laughs, but just when I said this thing at the bar, that got the best laugh because everything else I think was too wordy. Less words is better.
Speaking of drinking, I recently found something besides alcohol that makes most girls, not women in general, but girls, lose all inhibition. It's called a video camera.
So like I said, this was 2010, January of 2010. It'll be 12 years in this January. I was going to bars a lot. I was 29. I was going to bars a lot, trying to meet women. That's the way I thought. Like, I was like, well, if I'm going to meet a woman that likes me, she's probably got to be a little bit buzzed. But I would notice that I would come up to women and try to talk to them, and they would be so dismissive of me so quickly. And then someone would come by with like, because cell phone cameras weren't too popular back then, but people were bringing like actual like little cameras in places and just come up to girls and start talking and be like, "Hey, this is for my whatever, like vlog or whatever," and be like, so like, and they would be so nice to them and be talking. I'm like, "What the fuck is this?" So I just realized, oh, maybe I gotta like do a joke. And Girls Gone Wild was pretty big at the time too, I believe. So I just said, you know what, I gotta do a joke about this because this is so annoying. How this girl I was just talking to, who I was so polite to, and all this kind of stuff, and then this guy who's being really raunchy and asking her very personal questions, but because he has a video camera, she's all about it. I'm like, what the hell is this?
I don't know what it is, but you take the most uptight, rigid girl and you point a video camera at her, and she acts like she's on spring break in Cancun. You know what I'm talking about? She's just like, what? Yeah, oh my god, I can't believe I'm doing this. Sure, sounds like fun. Like that? Is that how you like it? You're not gonna show this to anyone, are you? Okay.
Okay, so right there, my parents, I didn't invite any family to this. I didn't even let them know I was doing this. Not because I was doing jokes about them, just because I just didn't. I really thought, and this is how I thought. I really thought that I was going to suck. Like nobody was going to laugh, and I was going to bomb, and this and that. And I didn't want to put my family through that because I see them every day. So I didn't want them to feel bad for me. So I didn't invite them. I only invited like the guy that told me I need to do it. I invited him and a couple other friends, and that was it. Uh, but I had the CD or the DVD, sorry. And so once I got the DVD of the set, I said, well, I know it went okay now, so let me play it for them. I said, here you guys go. I did some stand up if you guys want to watch it, and I left the room. I left the room. I could hear them, but I just didn't want to be in the room with them when they were watching it. So they watched it, and I heard them laughing at some of the stuff and everything. And then so when it was over, I came back in the room, and the first thing my mom said to me, she's like, I didn't like that part where you licked your palm. Like that wasn't necessary. And that wasn't the only thing she said, but that was the first thing she commented on. She's like, I didn't like you licking the palm. And I was like, I'm sorry.
I sure never done anything like this before. What? Yeah, I'm 18. Oh, hell yeah. Like this? Is that how you like it? Yeah. Hey, just don't turn the camera off because that would make this really weird. Hey, what's your name? All right, guys, that's my time. Thank you so much.
There you go, guys. That was it. Hope you guys enjoyed this little backstory and how the jokes came about and everything like that. Believe it or not, that joke, which was my closer, you're supposed to end on your best joke, which I think it was probably my best joke at the time. This was the only night I ever told that joke. In all the years of stand up I did since all the shows I've done, I've never told this joke again, which my best friend, my bestie, I met in this class. We're still friends to this day. You can hear her laughing at some points because she has a very distinct laugh. She would bug me for years. Like anytime I was in a show with her, or if she just came to a show that I was in to watch me and support me, either way, she would always be like, "Are you going to do the video camera joke? Are you going to do the video?" And I never did. And now it's probably honestly too late because the times are different. I don't even know if that joke makes sense anymore. But I kind of do wish I had done it more. But yeah, that was the only time I told this joke. And thank you guys for watching. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much, and see you next time.